and welcome to the third match of the day. This is Shadu commenting with Zastro, and what we have here is what looks like possibly the third upset of the day, because Black Legion has brought in a Galante Rush team versus a Power of 2 Kite team, which traditionally loses every time. Zaster, what exactly do we have here?
Okay, well, we have Power of 2. They brought Tengu setup, 3 Tengu setup, which they brought 3 Tengu setups in their past matches in the tournament, so they haven't swayed too much from that. Black Legion bringing this primarily Galente Rush setup with 3 Proteuses when they favored Minmatar Rush setups at their prior matches in the tournament. And the match is underway. What's going on here?
Well, of course, Black Legion is charging madly towards the Power of 2 kiting setups. Power of 2 prod, no logistics whatsoever. One Nighthawk has been caught up already, while the Black Legion Guardian has been primaried by the Power of 2 side.
Do you think that was a good idea? They didn't bring any shield wrap at all.
Well, it's a choice between bringing a little bit more DPS over some logistics. Of course, these kite teams, when you get caught up, especially by a 3 Proteus setup, you're gonna be gone regardless. And as we see, this Nighthawk is starting to melt, though he is local repping by the looks of it. But that is not going to be enough when 3 Proteuses get on top of it. What is surprising, however, is Black Legion Guardian is still alive.
It looks like their strategy may have been to just spread out to completely opposite sides of the arena, and which would make it difficult for them to get shield reps. And I think that's what they're doing right now. They're all over the place.
Absolutely, that is the strategy of a kite team, of course, to spread out as widely and around the place as possible.
And boom! At the same time, the Nighthawk for Power of 2 going down with the Dramiel at almost simultaneous seconds there. Black Legion has a Guardian in armor, and he's dropping. They're going to lose their logistics.
Yes, once that Guardian goes, it is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Black Legion to maintain their tech trees alive. However, looking at the speed that Power of 2 has been now losing their ships, this could very much still go in Black Legion's favor. Something that you would not have thought from the onset as Black Legion loses their Guardian.
It looks like everything is local rep setup, but those frigates are dropping real quick. Now down to 2 frigates left on the Power of 2 side, with 3 tankers and the Nighthawk.
I don't know how 2 Nighthawks could have been caught so fast, but they were, and they did, and this match is turning towards Black Legion's favor very heavily as that second Nighthawk goes down.
Black Legion lost their logistics. Their repairability has been hit here, but Power of 2 is losing ships left and right. I think at this point, Black Legion is going to swing the match in their favor.
Of course, after these ships go down, this Nighthawk goes down as it just exploded. Black Legion does have a long journey over to the next one, but that Loki is going to be whipping down all of these Tengus fairly long distance, especially with overloaded weapons, which allows the Proteuses to catch up and put their scramblers on. The Black Legion Loki is not dying fast enough, I believe.
No, I don't think so either. Power of 2 left with just their 3 Tengus and a Dramiel. Most of their ships are gone now. Black Legion hasn't lost any ship except their logistics, but the DPS is just going so slowly that I don't think that they're going to have any problem catching up with these last Tengus and taking them down.
Of course, Black Legion still has their frigates. That Dramiel there is scrambler fit, no doubt whatsoever. That Dramiel is catching up to the Tengus and putting scramblers and webs on him. And when he catches that, the Proteuses and Lokis follow, as they just now have. They have caught the Tengu of Fargas, and all of the Proteuses are madly charging towards him. They have him scrambled, and that's game over for the Tengu, while the Black Legion Loki is still hanging on in there. This what looked like a clear-cut match from the outset, because Galante by design is slightly slower than a kite-heavy team as Power 2 is feeling here. Yeah. We're seeing a bit of an upset to an upset.
Perhaps. Galante is definitely harder than Minmatar when you're making a rush setup to catch up with the kite team, because they're just slower ships. We were talking about this yesterday, whether it was stronger to bring a kite setup or a rush setup, and it came down to, we just decided, pilot skill and any errors that were made. We kind of decided.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this setup, though, this Galante setup?
It's well, what they had going for them was that Dramiel, which of course was able to get very fast tackle on those Tengus and Vargas.
He is dead at this
However,
point. However,
he has died now. Power of 2 swapped from that Loki to the Dramiel correctly, but was it too little, too late? I unfortunately think so.
Well, I think so too. There's 3 Tengus left. One of them is below half shield. That final frigate on the Power of 2 side has managed to stay alive himself. Black Legion's got their 3 Proteuses, a Prophecy, Cormorant, Ishkur, and, well, they just lost that Cormorant. It's going to take a while for these Tengus to go down, but I just don't see any way.
Of course, what Power of 2 is now trying to correctly do is take out these frigates, which are providing that initial tackle. However, why they didn't go for those frigates in the outset? They had enough DPS to push down a Dramiel for sure, but they chose not to.
And they didn't. They decided to go for that logistics ship first. It's what we were talking about yesterday. The choices you make, pilot errors, that's what's going to determine the kite versus rush setup, like the one we see here.
However, these 2 Tengus have run off very far from the Black Legion team. Having said that, the Ishkur Shellung Sundarine or something like that has now caught up to Bates Mark II in a
But
Tengu.
he's taking damage.
But it has been tackled by this one remaining Dramiel from the Power of 2 team, and they are putting heavy damage on him. And if he goes down,
but that Ishkur is getting repped. Do you see drones on him, or do you think that's a local rep?
That looks to be. Let's have a look. There's light armor bots out there from the Black Legion team. Those light armor bots are on that Ishkur, but it's not going to be enough.
No, I don't think so.
However, the question is, has he done his job for long enough to put the scramble on this Tengu for the rest of the Proteuses to catch up? And that is what's going to be the question now.
He's down now.
He's down, but Mad Fang in a Ishkur was able to catch up and is wildly rushing towards Bates Mark II right now with the Proteuses very closely behind. He looks to be almost catching up to him, and he has a scramble on. This is game over for Bates Mark II, I believe.
What you saw right here was one of the weaknesses of using the Galente rush setup. Those Galente ships are not as fast as the Mimitar rush setup, so when you get in these positions where the Kite team is already spread out and you have to chase them across the arena, it can put you in a pretty precarious position. But Black Legion's frigates have done their job. They managed to hold down those Power of 2 Tengus long enough for everyone else to catch up.
Absolutely. Looks like this Tengu is now wept as well. He had to actually turn around. He was coming close to the edge of the arena and had to turn around. However, looks like Black Legion's Proteuses have not managed to catch up properly yet. While Oke in Proteus is getting in there, it looks like he just missed the tackle on Bates Mark II, and they are not getting close enough just yet to put enough damage on Bates Mark II. And if they're able to take down this Ishkur, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, at this point, I don't think Power of 2 has enough DPS to really threaten what's left on the Black Legion team. If they end up just kiting around until time's out, Black Legion should have enough points that they'll win by points.
Absolutely. Looks like Commander Diaz in a Proteus is getting dangerously close to Bates Mark II. For some reason, they stopped firing for a minute. However, now the Ishkur is down, and if this Tengu is able to get distance from these Proteuses and take down this Prophecy, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Well, there's still a lot more points to Black Legion by having 3 of those Tech 3 cruisers alive, where Power of 2 has only 2 left. There's still 6.5 minutes left in the match. That's a lot of time. I just don't know if 2 Tengus is going to have enough DPS to really
I wonder if these Tengus are in fact 100 MN afterburner fit, because they are doing 1,800 with Proteuses right on top of them. Either these Proteuses do not have scrambles, or this Tengu is 100 MN afterburner fit, which of course means that only things that mattered to him were those webs, which are now gone, and this could very well still turn to be an upset of an upset to an upset.
This match has gone back and forth, back and forth. It's unusual to see a swing this late in the game, but you never know what's going to happen with some of these setups.
This is why we watch the final day. There are no more agreements. There are no meta games, except spying, of course. But there are no paying your opponent. Every match counts. Every match you have to win. You have to bring your best or you're going to be out like Pandemic Legion.
That is a danger. If you have a setup that you're trying to keep up your sleeve for a potential final match, and you don't use it, your best setup early in the elimination bracket, you'll never get there. So I personally believe you've got to use the best you got with every match.
Absolutely. However, Bates Mark II has either burned out his afterburner MWD or these Proteuses finally managed to actually get a scramble. He is scrambled. He's moving 50 meters a second. He's swept. He's not going anywhere. And these 3 Proteuses are pounding on him. Yep. This match is most certainly going to go for Black Legion, I believe, with 5 minutes left. One Tengu is not going to be enough to kill 3 Proteuses
is going to go down.
Light rep drones still on the field.
Bait Mark II is going to go down. Even if Krendos can successfully avoid those 3 Proteuses for the rest of the match, he's not going to be able to kill any of them. And if it goes to time, it will be Black Legion winning by points at timeout.
Absolutely. And as we watch this match slowly come to an end, I believe we will see Bates, of course, will die. It'll be close whether or not Commander Diaz will die or not. Those rep drones will be enough to give him a little bit of a buffer. I believe he is going to survive this match. Black Legion was able to either overload or get in range or maneuver better than Bates. Bates made a mistake. He got tackled, and he is now paying the price for it.
It looks like Commander Diaz is pulling away from the other 2 Proteuses, but it's not going to matter at this point. Bates Mark II is down. It leaves just a Tengu and a Dramiel against 3 Proteuses with 3 minutes and 48 seconds left to go. And I think even if Krendos tries to kite, there's really nothing he can do at this point in time.
What a wonderful match. Krendos in a Tengu is pulling away from the approaching armada of Proteuses. And that Proteus, Commander Diaz, is still taking damage, of course, from this Tengu and will continue to do so throughout the burn cycle as they try to get in range of it. But it's too little, too late. With 3 minutes remaining, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch up to Krendos, but I don't believe Commander Diaz is going to die either.
I don't think so. He's got enough rep drones on him that he should be able to tank the damage that's coming at him. Krendos is at the extreme edge of the arena and moving around. These Proteuses are too slow. I don't think you'll be able to pull any kind of crazy Top Gun maneuvers where he pulls up and the other guys go shooting out of the arena. The Proteuses just aren't fast enough for that to be a strategy in this one. In fact,
it looks like the Proteuses almost stopped chasing there for a minute and started looting instead. However, Orke is starting to
you can't forget about that loot on the field. If you're gonna have to wait the timeout, you might as well make a little profit out of it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably realize they're not going to be able to catch up, and they do indeed look like they stopped chasing for a minute there.
So you seem to have, as soon as you saw the setup, Shadu, you seem to have made up your mind. Is this what you expected?
It's not what I expected to happen, because a kite team has, on paper, on theory, a slight advantage over Galante Rush. However, Black Legion used that Loki to their advantage. They got overloaded webs on 2 Nighthawks, which of course are slower than those Tengus. They called their targets extremely well. They stacked to it. Power of 2 didn't call the frigates fast enough, because those frigates were the ones tackling those Tengus early on, and if they would have been able to get rid of them before killing that Guardian, which held on for a very long time, I think we would have seen a very different match.
I agree. I think that there were some errors in target calling at the beginning of the match. Power of 2 did pretty well to make it to this far in the tournament, but I just don't think that they've shown that they have as much skill as Black Legion so far. Definitely not in this match.
Absolutely, but what a wonderful match, though, to look at. It looked on an outset Power 2 was going to take it. When Black Legion took those 2 Nighthawks down in quick succession, it looked very dim for Power 2. However, their Tengus were able to kite very successfully for a long time and take out some crucial ships, but it just wasn't fast enough.
No. They did kite pretty successfully, but when you're just kiting without enough DPS to kill anyone that's on the field, it's never going to do you any good.
Black Legion, of course, being one of the kind of insider bets in this tourney. They have done very well. They have some very experienced pilots such as Oke there. We see in a Proteus who is a tournament veteran, while the alliance itself is fairly new. Everyone knew that they were going to do fairly well in this tourney, but nobody really knew how far they would be able to go. This was a strange setup to bring this on the final day of the tournament, I believe, but it worked out fairly well.
The Galente Rush setups have not done particularly well so far in the tournament. I was really curious to see how it was going to go against a kite team. I really didn't like their odds at first go before we saw the target calling and what was going to end up happening, but I'm pretty pleased to see a different setup from the traditional stuff that we've seen take the victory. And that's it. We're out of time.
Absolutely. We have Black Legion taking the victory here and advancing forward, and with that, we're going to pass you over to the studio.